All right. Hello,
You do,
everybody.
you doing cutting it off early.
I can't hear the music. It's just the way it's set up. When it stops, from now on, when you see it, like the stuff go, just know I can't hear the music. You'll have that little pause afterwards. What's up, guys? Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. If you hadn't already been told, and if you have, then you've been told again. It is Sunday. Being as it's Father's Day, may not be a big crowd, and I understand that. Some folks want to be out, doing stuff with family or whatever. Uh, Fortunately for me, I have been doing stuff with family. I've been in the shop working all day, and I can't give you guys a close up, but right over there, you'll notice that the Shapeco has turned into more of a staging area than a CNC today. Uh, I've got several hundred pieces that I've had to cut the past couple of days, and I got them all ready to go over there. Some are classified, top secret, May stuff that I can't show you. So if you know May, just tell her that she has a secret. I can't tell you what it is. If you're planning on coming to her event that's coming up at the end of the month in Clanton, her Craft Acropolis event, you'll figure it out then. You'll find out what the secret is then. So lots of smoke been created here. I've had to burn my scrap pile like 3 times today. So there you are. So what you got going on over there, Steve?
Ah, I've been out here warming up my shop. Um, yeah, it's hot and humid today in Minnesota. It's been raining the past few days, and I think we got up to a real temperature in the 90s, but they were talking about a heat index of 100 plus, give or take,
Mm,
area you're at. So yeah. I mean, outside the humidity was in the. I'm pretty sure it was high 70s, if not into 80 some percent all day, and so and all next week's looking like rain. So thus comes the warm season for the shop in here. But I've been a- dabbling in a few different projects, and a lot of it was doing some uh, learning of my own. I've been running the Onefinity with the doing inlays, and I haven't done this a lot before. I usually use a V bit for inlays, but using Cody's Skinny Jenny tapered ball nose bit. Um,
not a Jenny.
yes, a
Surely not.
Jenny.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to talk about that today. That's a sore subject. Cody knows what I'm talking about.
so
Some
for those that don't know, normally you'd use a V bit like this, and it's got a really sharp point, and that allows the bit to kind of come up and out of the corners and create a nice crisp um, point on your engraves. Well, if you want to go a little bit deeper and you want a less taper to it, so this is that's like a 60-degree. I don't have the 30-degree V bit. I realized that today, but this is about a 10-degree total angle on this, and that allows you to get a nice, less of an angle to it, so that if you're doing a deep engrave, it won't uh, it won't be quite so narrow at the bottom. And the problem with the ball nose versus the V bit is it doesn't come down to that point, so it can kind of make your corners tight or rounded. But here's just a sample of what I was working on with it's oak on oak, so it's kind of hard to
nice.
see, but I did get it pretty tight. And so the whole end result is trying to make this Celtic cross design. This is about 10 inches square work. So this is going to be the female side, and then I'll have a plug that's cut out that goes down into this. And working on this, trying to help out another creator who doesn't quite have the same software to set that up, and said, "Hey, I'll give it a shot. I've done it with VCarve or with the V bits before, but he's wanting to do that deeper carve with the taper ball nose. So it's been a little bit of a learning experience for me, and been kind of fun. So,
Yep.
and just to bring up a sore subject for Clack, I got a little surprise in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I knew they were coming, but this is one of the new um, the zero. They call them the O flute. It's a single flute bit from Cody that these are really good for doing acrylic, milling in non-ferrous metals like aluminum and brass. And so he just launched these, I think today, this morning even. Um, and so they're available for, I believe, his first pre-order here out on his website. And so I'm going to be running some tests with acrylic and possibly some aluminum. I've got some sheets to be playing around with this. And so these single flute bits are really ideal. And so he's working on at least a couple of them. These are 1/4 inch ones right now, and going to be doing some playing around with that as well. So getting a lot of CNC work in, but also I had mentioned the Sculpt Fun S9 or A9, and that's their new 40-watt machine. I wanted to have the review out already, but was having a little bit of issue with it. It was cutting okay, but I was getting kind of fuzzy lettering, and it seemed like a wider um, kerf than needed. And so I finally ended up doing a ramp test today, got back out here, and at least for the module I have, had to create a little focus tool for it because the stock one is actually about a third of this distance lower. And just to give you an example of the difference that makes, here is a cut test. This one was with my focus tool. This one was with the stock one. And you can see they're obviously getting much better cutting out of that. So I need to check in with them to see if something's set up wrong with mine with the focus tools. It's got a little flip down lever on the side for focus, but it's cutting much better. The letters are looking a lot better. Let's see if I can get that to focus there on the one with mine. And so want to make sure I've got everything set up right before I launch into a review of it. But that's also a good thing that if you're questioning your focus, do a ramp test. And what that is you want to set your material just at a slight angle, kind of fix it in place so that midpoint is where you think focus should be. So it kind of goes across it in a line, and it will hopefully come into and out of focus along that line. And where that line is the finest point, top and bottom, you'll be able to know, okay, that's your real focal distance. And then you can measure that distance and adjust your focus tool from there. So been doing a little troubleshooting on that one to kind of get it dialed in to make sure I'm giving it a fair test, and I'll be reaching out to them just to check on that focus tool. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was my so Mother's Day, Father's Day for us is kind of like you do you, you know,
Yeah.
spend the day however you want. And so for me, that was like, hey, I've been busy with work. I haven't had a lot of time out in the shop, so I came out here and did some playing around with the various tools.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it seems like we got a pretty good crowd, all things considered. Like I
Hmm.
said, seems a few White Wolf. I don't know if White Wolf is new or if just maybe not as frequent enough to make his way into my memory. Got Matt from Northern Florida, Southeast Michigan. Vince, I do recognize that name. Uh, Keith Bordley from Northwest Louisiana. Been there a few times. Perman Finlayson. Maybe that's one of our Swedish guys. Is that one of our Swedish guys, or it kind of sounds like a Swedish name. Just saying.
I mean, could just be Minnesotan.
I mean, it could be. It could be Central Florida, North Carolina. Up, Cody in the house. Yeah, that's the guy right there that you need to talk to about the bits. I did drop a link if you look for the Oh Genie link down there. If you're interested, I actually have used a zero flute bit, but because at the time that I was using them a lot, Cody didn't make one, so it wasn't a Genie bit. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to get that one and try it out. The one that I did use was a little bit cheaper, uh, lesser quality bit, and I just so happened to have several plates of aluminum as well as some other hard plastics and stuff like that, as well as some Lexan that I'm going to test it with and see how it does. Also, I don't know if how many of y'all saw it, but I've did some work with these little aluminum, anodized aluminum tags for a friend of mine that runs a trophy shop here in town. And that was the bit that I had to use on those. And Cody's innovating. I know one of the things that a problem that I have with the zero bit, especially with thinner materials, is if it's an upcut bit, it wants to snatch the material up into the spindle. And with you know, if you reverse the cut, that would be an awesome thing because now it's pushing it into your cutting surface and kind of takes that risk out of there. So you know, way to innovate, Cody, as far as some of the things you're doing. Really like it. And hopefully, if the post office decides to bring me mine, Steve won't be one up on me. But for right now, he is. So just my luck. What's up, Jack in the shop? How are you, Chris? Mark, 106 degrees in Tucson. We're not far off from that here. It got up to like 85 inside the shop today. The garage door over there, you could have fried eggs on that thing. So really rethinking that whole 16-foot garage door. But when I put that in here, the object was to open it and allow as much wind through here as I could. So I will be, and I've been collecting some stuff. As many of you know, June is a kind of a big deal for me. I've got, of course, my birthday, my anniversary. You got Father's Day, and June about 2 years ago was when I actually got serious about the Clack Shack. Actually, basically started getting my LLC paperwork together, forming my business, getting away from doing stuff, on a spreadsheet, actually legitimizing the business part of it. And it's come a long way. So I've been going back and finding pictures of the progression. And I'm thinking seriously about doing kind of like a bring you along type video of how it started and all that. So that may be something coming. Maybe drop a few little things that I've learned along the way in there. I did have the opportunity this week. Several folks have watched a couple of my videos that talked about getting started in your community with building things and making a little bit of money. And I've had 3 people reach out to me and said they got their first repeat customer established and starting to make a little money. One of them says that his first order of business is to save up enough money to get him a workshop outside the house, which is awesome. So, stuff like that. I thought I might throw that in there as well. So we'll see how that goes. But that's probably going to be later in the month, assuming the machines that I'm supposed to have coming don't show up and interfere with that, because I do have a couple of machines that are supposed to be coming my way. I got one coming from Hong Kong, supposed to be here on the 19th. I believe it to be. I'm not real sure. I've been told by both X-Tool as well as Steve's favorite laser company, the Laser Pecker folks, that I have the LP4 coming as well as the X-Tool Ultra, which are really similar machines. So we're gonna be seeing which one gets here first. Well, the Ultra's a lot more powerful, but
yeah, I was just saying that
small form factor, portability, that type of thing.
Yeah, the LP4 would be pretty much on par with the original F1.
Yeah,
So
the F1. And I'm in the process of trying to talk Adam Stack into sending me the parts that I needed to make my 70 watt look like my X40. Hey, if they'll send me the two X-axis rails and a wiring harness, I'll make it work.
Yeah,
that's all I
need.
That's
what
the two bars and a wiring harness is all I need.
I was talking to my friend. I was talking to my friend yesterday, and he was asking about the 70 watt, and he actually has my X30 extended, and so he was wanting kind of that form factor. I was like, well, if they just sell that version of it with the wider rails, then it would really be ideal for those that kind of have that extended but don't want the full 900 by 950 or whatever that is, massive, the max. So
that was the only thing that bothered me about that machine. And I'm gonna be honest with you, hindsight, I don't know how hard it would have been to do, but shorten those Y rails a little bit and go with it.
Possibly, but
a little too much machine work.
Might have to retap some things and such, but
yeah, a little too much machine work on that. But yeah, there's so many comments, guys. I'm sorry, we can't keep up. I do see Brian's asking, "How's the mini split coming?" It isn't. He's sitting on his thumbs.
I yeah, no, I know you and I've talked about it, but um my day job has just gotten nuts this spring and summer, and it the unfortunately shop out here for other than like orders and like critical stuff, it's taken a bit of a backseat, and so it's also shown in my lack of consistent video publishing, unfortunately. But yeah, I need to try to follow up with some places. So
Yeah.
it's really a
Well, I was
matter of
going to
time
ask you
because
the other
there's
day if you wanted me to just start like uploading some shorts for you or something, so you can have some content.
yeah, I'll just yeah, no, it's a part of that. I have been reorganizing some things both here and in the basement shop, which will make some of that easier because as any good project, you got to get a bunch of your existing crap out of the way to make it happen.
You'll do a little show and tell. Looks like Permanent has a engraving.
Mm.
You can send it to clack at theclackshack.com there, Perman, if you want to. And as long as it's nothing derogatory or offensive, we'll look at it and see what we can help you with there. I don't know what the file is, but yeah, you can send it to my email, clack at theclackshack.com. And we'll look at it and see if it's something that we can tackle in here, or you know, just maybe show some folks. You may not be the only person that has that question.
Yeah, you mentioned June being kind of your anniversary date for
Everything.
going going pro or whatever. No, it's just looking at when you kind of made the jump from playing around on the side to being a more legit business. And yeah, sometimes that's kind of hard to nail down for some of us when it starts out as a hobby and rolls into it. Or for myself, my channel, my YouTube account, and the first video is pushing nearly 2 decades old now, with when it first came out, and I was able to host some of my just fun RC videos on there. Um,
Yeah.
as far as laser content, that's a really good question.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I started my YouTube channel back in 2012 when I got an Android phone. When I got rid of the Nokia and found out about this thing called YouTube, and I did a lot of research there. And I
Hmm.
was into doing some video gaming and stuff like that. So I would share game clips with my buddies and so forth. But it wasn't until 2021, or yeah, when I got the sawmill, that I started at that time just posting stuff to help people out in some Facebook groups. And then it just started spiraling. And then the business end of it, like making stuff, started getting more and more. And it was in June, between May and June of 2022, is when me and Brandy sat down and was like, hey, this is getting to where it's a little more than you can keep up with in a spreadsheet. And it's time to get an LLC set up, and I had enough money coming in at that point that it's either pay a whole bunch of taxes on all this money that's coming in, or turn it into a business so that I can deduct some stuff. And so that's when it kind of teetered to that point of, okay, this is rather than paying $2,000 or $3,000 at the end of the year on money that I'm making out in the shop and not getting any credit for supplies and tools and stuff like that, it's time to legitimize it and start the business. And I started the paperwork in June, and I pulled up my certificate and my LLC paperwork, and I got my copies back from the Attorney General's office, and it was dated July the 1st. But it was during the month of June is when me and Brandy were sitting at the kitchen table going through all that stuff, getting my EIN, getting my tax account set up, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, June was a June it's kind of a big deal for me. And little known fact and coincidence, and this might be a little bit of a teaser for the video to come. But when I graduated the academy, police academy in Montgomery, back in 1999, they issued me my very first handgun. that I was issued by a department, and the serial number was 06221975, which coincidentally is my birthday. So, and then when I started the channel, I actually got monetized on 0622, which was June the 22nd of 2022, which was my birthday. So it's just kind of been it's a lot of June coincidences and stuff. So it's been a big month for me. Uh, that, and like I said, 27 years ago, uh, me and my wife got married 2 days before my birthday. So it's a big month for me. June's kind of my month, I guess.
So just looking through my video history, my my first like honest laser video that I put on my channel was back at September of 2020. But if you want to go CNC, the first CNC video I put back there was end of November 2011.
Yeah.
And mixed in there is just a bunch of other, model aviation stuff. But so yeah, I would have a hard time like nailing down when did I really. I mean, you could probably peg it to when I started doing more of some of the. I did a few laser tube exchange, and a couple other things like that. In late 2020, early 2021. But but yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go through that and kind of look and figure out when my like more serious
Uh-oh.
anniversary date.
What happened to my screen? There it goes. Yeah. Chris said getting married on my birthday is a good way not to forget your anniversary. Weird part about that is, Chris, is my wife's birthday is on Christmas. So, like, it's hard to forget when her birthday is, but sometimes people forget she even has one because it's like Merry Christmas, and she's like, What about my birthday?" so, so that's kind of an awkward one, but yeah. Chicago Bob Crook County, is that seriously the name of the county? Crook County, Illinois. I'm guessing
I think
Cook
there's a play
County,
on words there, but
Illinois.
yeah.
I think it's Cook County, Illinois. Oh, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, David Pingle said his Lasermatic XW arrived, setting it up tomorrow. Matter of fact, I was actually filling in for Dimitri last night. One of our guys got his extra wide in and was having some issues when he would home it, and somehow, possibly when the foam was inserted or when he pulled it out, somehow the gantry got shifted just a little, and it was hitting when he would home it. The left side would hit the stop before the right side engaged the limit switch. So he had to go in and loosen the timing linkage and square the gantry up, tighten everything back down, and got it up and going. So
Very
yeah.
cool.
Regardless of how well machines are built, guys, sometimes things happen, and so if you get it out and you have a little bit of an issue with it, don't get disheartened. Dimitri's pretty good about getting back with you, and there's always us uh, amateurs out there that can help you. Okay, all right. So I got the picture from Pam. Let me download it so I don't have to show her email address. So, and I know what you're going to say. I know what me and you both are going to say the cause of this is, but I just want to. I'm going to put it on a screen here so that you can make your determination. It's one of those situations where I almost want to like text it to you, so I say for sure same thing. But here we go. This is what Pam says she's having a problem with. It's not a picture per se. Uh, it's just a cut. Looks like so. Here we go. What's your guess, Steve? What's your guess? Uh huh. All right, you're taking way too long, Steve.
Just gonna see if you thought the screen was froze. Well, obviously there's something mechanically is loose. Um, yeah, we've got. I've seen a few different things do this, depending on the
Yes,
laser.
I have too.
Um, so it's time to start looking at at a number of things. Um, Check to make sure the module is secured into the gantry itself, um, but also that your belts are tight. Um, could even be, your module, if your end cap, your cover lens on there is loose, that can cause little issues like that. It's really on that one axis, though.
Yeah, and the only thing that concerns me is the fact that you've got a break here and a
Hmm.
break here. I'm not 100% sure because this looks like it's going over, it's coming down, and it's going over here. But somewhere through here, it's getting off. I'm gonna say check the squaring of the gantry first because you've got a disconnect going from here to here as if it's pushing this way, and then you've got a disconnect from here to here as if it's pushing that way. And if you had a concentric wheel or concentric nut dragon or had an out of square gantry, you would see it break in these two different spots. The only reason I don't think it's a belt is because it's in two spots instead of just one. Typically, the belt
Okay.
is gonna come all the way
Well,
around and just have a gap there. So,
um,
what kind of machine are we talking about? First of all, I'm guessing it's a diode by the color of the cut,
mhm.
because typically
Just
CO2s
the
aren't
thing
going to
that
be that
concerns
dark.
me is that also that waviness.
Yeah, but if you've got a concentric nut dragon, that would you see what I'm saying? If that concentric nut, one of the nuts is too tight, you're going to
Yeah.
have that little bit of shudder, and then as it moves, because it very well could be on the. You could have a combination of two problems going on here. I see what you're saying now. With this, this almost looks like some shudder on the gantry, and then
I,
this is creep here.
yeah, I mean, if it was ball screws, I'd say it was like backlash.
Yeah, but a little more information would be helpful too. Woo! Look at that, big clack, little Steve. But yeah, that definitely. I'm gonna go with mechanical on that. Uh, okay, it's Otura LM3 with a Niji 40640 module, 3 or 4 years old. Otura Laser Master 2. Yeah, Otura LM2. That's kind of like the old Adam stacks, isn't it? They went to the C
It
channel.
was yeah, they were like 2020 extrusion for the most part.
Yeah, so it's going to have rollers. I'm going to go. I'm going to go check your concentric nuts, and those concentric nuts on there, if or unless they're fixed. But anyway, the nuts on there, you want them to where you can take your fingers and you can slowly turn the little rubber wheel without the gantry. You want it just enough to where it tries to make it move, but you still can turn it a little bit if you try hard enough. You don't want it to where it will not turn without pushing the gantry, and you don't want it to where it just free spins either. You want it just contacting that extrusion enough that you can make it slip without the gantry moving, but you have to put a little effort into it. Gloria says we didn't say hi to her. Well, hey, Gloria. I didn't say hi to a bunch of people. It's getting to where there's so many people in here. It's getting like really difficult to keep up with. I, and trying to read the comments and look up stuff, and it's. I ain't gonna make excuses. I'm terrible at multitasking.
Now, also the Orturs website is really annoying with their little pop-up message thing.
Yeah.
Just got like 5 dings from
Gerald
it.
Grady saying stepper gear set screw. Typically, that thing's gonna slip the whole time, though. That's been my only thing. Is this appears that it's
Well,
only
and
affecting the left to right movement.
yeah, that I mean that would be more the front to back. The LM2 does have 4 wheels on it, and so while that's great if everything's in alignment, if one of them's slightly off, um, it can be worse than a 3 wheel setup because it'll
Yeah.
add some instability. So yeah, I mean maybe check the eccentric nuts on that on
Mm.
the gantry.
Well, Jason said his surgery is worse than I told him. Hey, you didn't use my doctor, and I told you your situation would be a little different, but my thing still stands. Take it easy. Don't do anything extra. Uh, take the opportunity to be lazy. Watch lots of your favorite shows or whatever. Just stay still for for at least 2 or 3 weeks before you start trying to do anything major. Uh, it's tough, especially when you're like me.
So Keith's asking if either of us have used the Thunderbolt laser and how it compares to the X Tool. Now, that's the one your buddy has at the trophy shop, right?
Yes, and I have done a lot of training with his employees on it and have run it. It is really fast. Compared to the P2, I think we determined that the workspace is actually a little narrower, but it's deeper. But I will tell you this: the speeds that thing runs, like the the thing is so fast. I've tried making a video while it's engraving, and it looks like helicopter blades. Like you can't, the phone can't keep up. So as far as the speed of it that it moves at, the Thunderbolt is way faster. And I've done some designs on acrylic up there at the trophy shop. Teaching the ladies how to use it. And I've done similar designs on the P2. And there's something in the software that Xtool uses that makes the P2, when engraving, especially on acrylic, it seems a lot slower than the Thunder is in Lightburn. But now I haven't played with the P2 in Lightburn. That may actually be, what's causing the difference. So it's not really a fair comparison there. But it's a lot bigger machine. I will say that. Like the footprint of it, you're going to have to dedicate a little more space to it. And whether you want it or whether you don't, it has the drop bed capability, which I do like about it. Instead of having to take a plate out and slide it down, instead of the nozzle moving up and down like in the P2 with the Thunderbolt, it has a bed that articulates up and down like mine does in the EnclosureZilla, which I really like. The camera precision on the Thunder is pretty good because we calibrated their Lightburn camera, and I showed them how to use it for rough placement, but then follow up with a frame. And I was really surprised at how consistent the camera was, but I think that's because the bed brings the material up until it touches the focus probe, and then it sets the zero. And I think because the zero is always the same place, and the camera's always at the same place, makes it a lot more accurate than some Lightburn camera setups. So that would be it is a bit more expensive if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
depending on what you're wanting to do, you could but like I said, with it being more expensive, by the time you take the P2 and you put the riser on there and all the extras, you know, you're getting closer because the Thunder does not need a riser base. It will do several inches without any modifications or any extra parts. So that's one thing to consider is to get the same equivalent with the P2, you're going to have the riser base as well. And I don't know that you'll still have the same amount of depth. I'd have to look at the specs.
So the working area, it's 20 by 12 on the Thunderbolt, and it's 23.5 by 12 on the P2.
Yeah.
So you get the same depth, but just a little more width on the P2. Max speed 600 millimeters a second on the P2, 1,000 on the Thunderbolt. And yeah, the price right now, I mean, they listed on their sale $4,000 for the base P2 unit versus I think 5,200 for the base, or 5,500 for the Bolt. But like you mentioned, you're gonna end up adding on the you're gonna add on the riser, which is a few $100s more. And in fairness, their list price is $49.99. It's 5,000. So if you're going base price to base price, you're only about a $500 difference. So
Yeah, and the Thunder that Tim bought does have a fixed honeycomb in the machine, so it's not like you got to buy that extra either.
Yep, that's an add-on. So now, granted, Xtool almost always has sales on their stuff. And I mentioned this earlier when people were concerned about missing out on the ultra pre-sale price. I mean, they're always going to have a sale on it. It's going to fluctuate by a few $100s most likely, but you're probably not going to be missing out on too much by waiting. I mean, that original one is already passed, and they're actually, I think they announced the other day they're starting to get ready to ship the stock units. So I mean, price is something to look at, um, but yeah, the big I think the big benefit to the P2 is it's all inclusive compact size. If you're tight on space, it's kind of nice. The bad thing about that is anytime you got to go and fix something in there, it's really compact and tight in there. Whereas,
Yeah.
my larger 60-watt CO2 and the Thunderbolt, you're going to have a little extra wiggle room, to work around in things.
Yeah. Now the mirrors on the Thunderbolt was pretty impressive. It's got basically a thumb screw that you remove, and the mirrors just slide out. They're held in place with magnets.
Hmm.
Uh, and then they have the little thumb screw basically just as security, because when it's flying back and forth, you don't want that thing, the magnets, to
Yeah.
turn loose. But once you take that thumb screw out, the mirror housing literally just kind of pops out from the magnetics, and then you take a cleaning cloth, wipe it down, stick it back in there, put the nut back on it, and you're good to go. Because that was one of the things when we were first setting it up, the thumb screw had fell out of the mirror, and the mirror had actually slung out a little bit while they were playing with it, and the mirrors were way out of alignment. And I'm like, there is no way they shipped this thing like this. And so as I was going over it, that's when I realized, hey, there's supposed to be a thumb screw here. so, so yeah, that's the way that it's set up to be cleaned was pretty cool too. That was my first experience with a Thunder laser of any kind. Uh, they've that's one of the companies that I have never received an email from. So, so, and but my buddy Tim was looking at getting he wanted compact, but he wanted a CO2. Now keep in mind too, the Thunderbolt's only a 30 watt, whereas P2's a 55.
But it's an
So,
RF beam,
but
so
it's a RF beam, so there's
it
a
it,
little bit of a
it kind of equals out.
yeah, a little bit of difference in the wattage rating when you're looking at them. But for a 30 watt, that thing puts in work. I can tell you that. Cutting quarter-inch plywood at 20 millimeters a second is no problem with it. So
Bob's asking if either one of us has had a random beeping during processing with the X-Tool S1.
I haven't
Um,
ran my S1 a lot, but the P2 was doing that until that last update because it would disconnect and connect, disconnect and connect.
yeah, I was gonna say I haven't noticed it with my S1 too much. Um, with the P2, yeah, more so if it's dropping on and off Wi-Fi, or if the USB is connecting, disconnecting, it might. But yeah, I'd have to look for that. I do have it hooked up down in the basement shop, and would see. I now the P2, of course, if it's overheating and other things, it's going to throw more errors to it. But I unless you're getting any feedback in the software or you're seeing any messes on it, I guess I wouldn't be overly concerned. I mean, you could try reaching out to Xtool support, see if they say anything, but I can't say that I've noticed it on mine.
Yeah, I haven't ran mine that much. I've got it pretty much set up to do the screen print and stuff right now, and I've just got so many other machines that are already attached to exhaust that it's just not it's just not used as much as it was for a while there. Because I've got a 40 watt here, 70 here, 30 there, 40 there. It just it just it's kind of been a little on the neglected, except for the silks or the screen print and stuff, which I've got to do another screen for Brandy here probably the next week or so.
Hmm.
But I've got the jig set up in there. I've got the screens in there. It's just set up for that for right now. Uh, Ralph's asking any suggestions for inexpensive first Galvo lasers. Uh, Ralph, the only I say the
Well,
only Galvo, the only like fiber Galvos that I experienced with is the the com marker that me and Steve have.
Yeah, I was going to say it depends. I mean, galvo is just the mechanism of using mirrors to sling the beam around, and so you've got a lot of these smaller blue diode galvos, like the Laser Pecker 2 and some of the others.
Mm,
And then you
okay.
get the longer. So, if you're looking for one of those, you could look at the longer or the Laser Pecker series. If you're looking for a fiber, yeah, you'd probably want to look at either the com marker, or I know other people have had good luck with the um, so some of them have been with the Monport. Um,
Yeah.
I
Supposedly in
I would,
July, I should have a Monport.
you know,
Supposedly.
uh, but yeah, if you're looking for fiber laser, um, it's going to depend on what you want to do with it. If you're looking to get into deeper engraves, you're going to be kind of disappointed with the inexpensive, cheaper 20-watt ones. And I think those are going to be starting around probably $1,500 on up. But if you're just looking for a galvo laser, a portable, something like that, some options there with longer laser pecker, even the X-Tool F1 are nice galvo lasers for having a portable setup, but they're not super powerful for doing things like deep engraves into metal.
Yeah, that little longer. They sent me the their version of the conveyor or the bed or whatever, as well as the chuck. Not a fan of those components on it, but if you just wanted something to do like slate coasters and something the size of a coaster with a 10-watt blue diode, it does a really good job in its original form. But when you start adding those attachments, I wasn't really a fan. But yeah, the com marker B4 that me and Steve have is a 20-watt fiber. It's really good for anodized. I've done some serializing on aluminum with it and stuff like that. It's it's decent, but it's kind of like if you had a 5-watt diode these days. It's the lower end of the power spectrum when it comes to fibers. If Monport holds true to what they've told me, I should be getting the new 30-watt MOPA that Monport's coming out with. It's supposed to ship out in July, so that'll be my first dealings with a MOPA. Currently, all I have is the 20-watt com marker standard fiber, and supposedly the X tool coming. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Cool. Sharon's asking if we can suggest a replacement fan for the top of the laser head on the X-Tool D1 Pro 10-watt, and can you put a plug on ends that are now soldered to the inside of the laser head? As far as a replacement fan, I know Kobe over at Geeks at Large, he's got them. I think they're $5 plus some shipping, guaranteed drop into a D1, and I think it's only about $5 to $6 for shipping. So for something that will work, that would be a good one. As far as changing the plugs on it, I'm sure it's possible, but I don't know that I would recommend it unless you're really comfortable with that. I haven't taken a too close a look at that. I've cleaned them out and haven't had to really muck with the connectors too much, but they're not expensive. You can probably find them elsewhere, but if you just want to get one easy and quick, that would be just search for Geeks at Large D1 replacement fan, and you should be able to find that pretty easily.
Yes, Mark. The RF beam. I mean, I don't know if it's on the same frequency, but for the most part, it's the same material list as a CO2. It'll do clear acrylic really well. Steve may know more about that than I do. I haven't studied up on the RFs a whole lot. I think the biggest difference is the way that the tube's cooled.
DJS got the Creality 60-watt. Says it's a beast, cutting 3mm plywood at 1,500 millimeters. I'm guessing that's millimeters a minute. 3/4 pine at 250. Very well built machine. Yeah, you had the earlier with the 20-watt Creality Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had. Looked like a good machine. I haven't had the chance to work with any of their lasers. I've worked with some of their 3D printers and such, but they definitely look like good machines. And nice to know that it's performing well. I mean, at 60 watt, it should be getting close to our atom stacks, and
Oh yeah.
it sounds about right for those numbers. So glad it's working out well for you.
Oh yeah. The so far the A70 is the cuttingest machine in the shop. I can cut 3/4 inch pine in a single pass, which is crazy. And I don't like doing it in a single pass because it's risky. But I did do it a couple times just to see if I could. 1/2 inch plywood is nothing for the A70, which is cool. And the added size as well because it's a little bigger than your typical uh, diode machine. Oh, by the way, that brand new. Oh, you can't see it's dark in there. That
You
brand new honeycomb I got. It looks like it's a year
a
old.
little dirty.
Oh, I've been running a crap. So yeah, my enclosure smells like a fire. So yeah, it's it's been getting some exercise. Check it out. This honeycomb was brand new yesterday at lunch. It's not anymore. So that thing has put in work. I've been running it pretty much nonstop for 2 days. I've got to clean it before I continue, just to check it. It's still cutting good, but I got to check it at least. And like I said, I always run air assist, and I've never had the lens get dirty on this X40. I don't know what the difference is, but the module will get dusty, but the lens so far has not had any problems.
So Robbie's asking, what should you look for when shopping around for safety glasses for the Ultra? Make sure you have the right ones. Well, going by their documentation, uh, it's got both the blue diode as well as the IR, and that's the 455 nanometer and the 1064 nanometer. So you want to look for a set of glasses that has both. So both Clack and I have different versions of it, and if I can get it to focus, you can just barely see on there that it's got some writing on the top, and what it's showing is 190 to 550 and 800 to 1100 nanometer OD6. So this style from Free Mascot works for both those wavelengths. And so any glasses you look at, make sure that they're actually engraved with that rating on there. Otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily trust them.
Yeah,
Um,
because these are, if not, this is 450 and this is fiber.
yeah, and you
But
can get
if you get this pair, it replaces two pair. So
yeah.
especially with a dual beam machine, I would wear these.
So definitely look for those. I've got them linked in my Amazon store, and I know Clark does as well. So if you look at any of our videos, we should have a link to our Amazon stores in there, and you should be able to find those. Otherwise, I could try to find the link for that real quick um, as well. But yeah, any glasses you look for, try to make sure that they have that rating inscribed on them. So I need to make sure I. And some of them, Free Mascot has a number of different styles as well as um, the wavelength rating. So you got to double check which ones. So
All right, Mark's got an interesting question, and this is going to depend on your situation a lot. There's things that you have to consider when you're considering an open frame machine comparing it to a boxed machine. Is which better suits you? Do you need a machine that is fully encapsulated, has its own exhaust, has its own air assist, has all these things? Is that something you need, or are you willing to build an enclosure similar to this to house it, or purchase a cloth enclosure or whatever? But I want to be honest with you, the A70 or the work area is, I think it's slightly larger than the S1 because this is 500
it's
by,
it's deeper, but not as wide.
yeah. But like if you're doing round things, you could actually, like if you're doing door signs, you can do bigger door signs on this guy than you can the S1. Now, with that said, the S1 does have the really cool, you know, air assist built into it, the fan built into it, lights in the enclosure. I mean, it's a decent rig. I like mine, but it's like I said, it's a 40 watt. Now, I don't doubt that pretty soon they'll come out with something a little stronger. But for now, for what I use my A70 for, I like having it because just like today, I was cutting out these little boxes and like literally, I don't know if y'all saw the picture, but I had the work area slapped full of uh, pieces to cut, and it took 12 minutes to cut the whole thing. And here it is right here. Like, this is what I was cutting today out of 4.5 millimeter material, and it took like 13 minutes to cut all these pieces out, which is a big time saver when you're turning out a lot of pieces in a day. And keep in mind, I had 3 machines running pretty much all day today. So the the cutting I left up to the 70 watt. The kerf is slightly larger than the 40 watt or the 30s, but as long as you know that and you build that into your files going into it, it works fine.
Yeah, its biggest downfall is that it's not an all-in-one machine with an enclosure. Um,
Yeah.
it's definitely cheaper than the S1. I mean, the unit right now is $1,700. That includes your automatic air assist, um, and so if it was enclosed and had an exhaust fan, um, it obviously it'd be a little bit more, but yeah, if you want raw cutting power, that's going to be the way to go. Um, the the S1 is a really nice machine and it works well. Um, it's all enclosed, but yeah, everything else is kind of an add-on to it. And I don't know, I like them both for various reasons, but if you're going for sheer cutting power, you're gonna want to go with the 70. And if you're not afraid to build your own enclosure, I think you'll be able to save some money.
Yeah. Now, if you're going to be doing a lot of images, I think the S1 does a better job on images than the 70 because of spot size. But now, there again, I haven't cut the 70 watt down to 35 and tried it either. So there's that because the 70 watt can be switched over to a 35 watt.
Hmm.
So that may make it still does a good job on images, but it doesn't quite do as well as the 40 watt, in my opinion. But I haven't ran it as a 35 watt. So I don't even know if that switch works on mine or not. I've never switched it down. It may not even work. Oh, it's getting hotter in here, I think. Oh, it's 80 degrees. Sheesh. It was 100 degrees down here today and hot, and then it rained, so now it's humid. Rubber?
Well, what was that other one you had on there?
Oh,
This one?
oh yeah. Possible? Maybe. Aggravating will make you want to throw your laser out the window? Yes. That's that hardy board stuff that
Yeah,
they sell at Lowe's.
yeah. It's going to be harder than MDF. And while MDF is nice and consistent, it's so full of resin and glues that it both smells really bad and is a little hard to cut through. The hardboard again, yeah. If you absolutely have to, you can do some tests on it. But I've had mixed results even with my CO2 lasers, um, trying to get through that stuff. So you could try it, but I have a feeling it's probably, if it's the typical hardboard that I'm used to, it's going to be a little tricky. I don't know if I
Yeah.
had some the
Now, if you do happen to go to Home Depot, and this stuff is what I've been cutting most of the day today. This is their quarter-inch birch. It actually done really well. I had like two pieces that I wound up blasting through the veneer and found a pocket and had to reburn the piece. But other than that, it looked really nice. And I went through two by four sheets of this stuff today, cutting these things out. So, and I can't tell you what it is because it's classified, but it is shaped like a peach. case you missed that, Steve, it's shaped like a peach.
Hmm.
And I have I started to keep these. I created probably a 5 gallon bucket of these things today. I started to keep them and mix them up with some resin and make me like this cool resin project because these are like little
Okay.
little miniature boards.
Yeah.
But I bet I've burned a 5 gallon bucket of those things today.
So just fair warning to people though, Home Depot does not stock necessarily the same material in every store. So
True.
uh, uh, your mileage may vary with what you find in your local Home Depot or Lowe's and such. So because I've seen some 1/4 inch material from them that works really great, but they don't sell it in big sheets at my local store. And
No,
the
it's
birch
two
stuff that
foot,
they sell
2 foot by
here
four
is
foot
not
was
great.
as big as they sold because I
Yeah.
scoured the place.
Yup.
I did. I did find out that we actually have a place here in Chilton County. A friend of mine, brewer, that does the cutting boards. He done that cutting board over there. He was telling me yesterday we ran into each other at Hobby Lobby, and he was saying that we actually have a store that sells sheet goods. It's like an independent store, and they actually have Baltic birch. So me and Brandy rode up there Saturday. No, I saw him Friday afternoon. It was Saturday we rode up there, but they were not open, despite Google telling me they were. So I'm gonna try to go back sometime this week and check them out and see what they got. And if they do have Baltic birch, I'm probably gonna grab me a couple of sheets of that and try it out.
Well, be ready for some sticker shock.
I just find something really expensive to make out of it. Give my money back.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he said they had all kinds of stuff. I'm kind of curious if they have like 1/4 inch maple and 1/4 inch walnut and stuff like that too. I did pick up, and you can't see it really, but it's laying on the CNC. I did pick up a piece of 1/4 inch maple from Home Depot while I was in there the other day. I didn't know they actually had it, and it was mixed in with the birch. But I'm gonna try that couple things and see what it looks like.
Like solid wood or plywood.
No, it's veneered.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. So there's a lot of places. Like if you can find your non big box store type of place, so a lumber yard that they deal in maybe hardwoods and plywoods and such. Typically, they were working with dealers that if even if they don't stock it regularly, they can get some of these specialty plywoods in. As a matter of fact, my local one here, uh, their distributor was the same place I was working with when I was making all my airplane stands, and actually had a dealer account with that place. And so um, I know a lot of the things that they can get in, and so like if you want a special veneer plywood, um, they can work with them on it. So it's worth looking around to see what maybe your non-typical, if you have a lumber dealer that's not necessarily like your major chain stores, they may have better sources for additional wood that's going to be higher quality.
yeah. Tennessee Woods asking, does anyone know if it's possible to engrave rubber on a fiber laser? I don't know about rubber. I do know that fibers have a really hard time with organic materials, such as wood, cork. Well, not cork. Yeah, cork. Some of the other things that are really easy for blue diodes. So with rubber being a plant extract, I'd be kind of curious to see. I know the fibers do really good on plastics, but I'm not sure about like legitimate rubber. Now, if it's some type of artificial rubber, then probably it would. But if it's genuine rubber, it may have a hard time because you could take a fiber laser and I could put a piece of wood under there and run it wide open power settings and barely leave a mark. It's a total waste of time trying to engrave wood with a fiber. In my opinion, you better off go with a CO2 or a diode. But I haven't tried rubber.
Yeah, yeah, rubber or even silicone. That'd be interesting to test out.
Now I have done silicone, Matter of fact, it was Apple
Yeah,
Watch bands,
watch bands are popular, and that's
but you can't. I can't get them to leave any color, but
right.
it'll basically leave an impression. Because I had some of them I bought and I was testing them, and Brandy came out here and she's like, "Oh, those are nice," and so she stole like two different colors from me. Up north says he uses the 1/4 inch maple from Home Depot and it cuts well. It kind of looks like a MDF with a veneer on it, so I'm not sure.
Well, and yeah, that's the stuff that you can buy online in there. They sell it in like the what is it like? It's just under. I think it's like 19 by 11 something, and they sell it in a 10 pack that you can order online. And that's the stuff I wish I could find in the bigger sheets, but my local Home Depot does not have it at all. So if you don't have that, you can get it in those smaller sheets and have it shipped direct to you. But I want to say it's about on average $50 for that pack. So it's about $5 a sheet in that almost 20 by 12. It's a little expensive, but it's nice consistent stuff and does burn. And they have different if you do it online, you can get everything from walnut to birch, maple, maybe even mahogany. I forget all the ones they have.
Yeah. John is saying that they must have abandoned the IKEA 70-watt machine. Hadn't heard anything about it lately. You had a couple of IKEA machines, but you didn't have the 70-watt, did you?
No, the 2448 watt, and then well they originally sent me the 24, and then when the 2448 came out, they sent that as well. Um, Very much like the 8s or L2 machines, I mean, almost identical. My
Yeah.
biggest issue with those is really struggling with the autofocus on it. But after looking at the Atom stack and finding a couple of distance issues, having to have these set up right, I need to pull one of those back out and give that a shot.
Sean apparently has some experience with rubber. I do not, but say you got to make sure your line interval is set properly, which most materials you will, but it may be a little extra finicky. But like I said, haven't tried it. I've done my little rubber stamps and stuff that I do, but I usually do them on a diode because that's just what I'm comfortable with. See ya, Kevin.
Greg's asking, he's just starting recording first laser video, making use of GoPros and such. How are you sharing Lightburn on your videos? So, um, with that, you need a screen capture software. And depending on what computer you're using, there are a few options from paid to cheap to expensive. Um, what I use a lot of the times is the same software that's driving the back end of the stream here with the different screens and such. And so that's Streamlabs desktop, and or you could use what it's built on is OBS, and that's it takes whatever you have on your screen or other video inputs, lets you do scenes to jump between them. Then you can either stream it like we are here, or you can actually record it.
Yeah, you can do
Um,
that. You can do
it's a
that.
little,
You can do
yeah,
that.
it's a little more involved than what's needed just for screen recording. But the fact that we have our stream decks, like Clack was showing there, to jump between our different displays and such, makes it kind of easy to do that in the video as well. I've also used a paid application called Bandicam. It's a screen capture software, allows you to overlay a webcam view as well, but it also gives you some features such as you can highlight the mouse in like a little highlighted circle. It can also highlight the clicks so that it's a little more clear what you're doing. So if it's really intensive of going into showing a lot of steps, I try to use that as well. But it also, the more things you use, the more different files you got to play around with on such. Um, and then yeah, like if you're on a Mac, there's the native screen capture software that you can use. Windows used to have one. I don't know. I haven't played
Yeah,
with
they
it
still got a
recently.
clipping tool or whatever, but
Yeah.
the cheapest way to do it is with OBS or Stream Deck,
Hmm.
Streamlabs, and this is what Streamlabs looks well. kind of in the abyss right there. But that's what Streamlabs looks like when it's running, and I can swap any camera that I want uh, to that software. But that's what it looks like, and you can go over here, you can add cameras, you can add microphones, and right now it's showing my top screen so that y'all can see it. But it also has this whole virtual webcam, which is what I pipe in my virtual webcam into Restream right now. So it's a cool, interesting tool. You can do different, like you can combine uh, two cameras. You can have like you can add like on this particular view. If I wanted to add, say, an enclosure camera, I could click that and add an enclosure camera to it. If I wanted to add, whatever, you can just you can just add them. Like you can put six cameras in one screen if you want to, and it's free. So can't beat free. It's pretty solid too. I like it. Oh,
Do, um, Robbie's commenting, got an email from Xtool asking if they wanted to sign up for a beta firmware related to the P2, wondering if they're not trying to make their machine faster. Yeah, they've sent that out, and I think I got that same email. So they asked for people to test various things. I got that with an early version of XCS 2.0 as well, which was updated firmware for machines as well as the software to make it work. And that is one of the nice things about Xtool is they are, they're usually trying to update things, tweak things. That's sometimes good, sometimes bad, because usually when they add new features, it sometimes has an inadvertent effect of breaking other things. So, uh, it's kind of fun to be able to test new stuff, but also buyer beware that it can sometimes break things. And if you're relying on your laser for making money or doing projects, maybe something you want to consider whether it's worth it or not. But yeah, it is nice that they're proactive, and they do tend to reach out to. They try to pull in a variety of people, from people like Clack and I to known small business owners to the average person. They usually ask a few questions to get a nice wider pool of people. So it is a good thing to see that they're not just creating this stuff in a bubble.
yes, it is. All right, it's the halfway mark plus a little.
Very nice.
Don't don't forget about our map, guys. We got a map, and we like for everybody to put a pin on there. You don't have to put your address. You could actually put your neighbor's address in there if you wanted to, or the post office, or your favorite coffee shop. But we try to create this map in essence so that we get an idea of where everybody is located. Because believe it or not, guys, pretty soon I'm going to be retiring and I'm going to be doing some traveling. And so if I notice that on the map I'm in this hub of little blue dots, then yeah, I probably won't travel that far, Steve.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be somewhere in the lower 48 more than likely because there are restrictions on what you can carry when you start crossing those little boundary lines. But yeah, so if we're doing some traveling or doing an event somewhere, it kind of gives us a little heads up about where everybody's at. So just like I think Steve's still planning on going with us over to Workbench Con at the beginning of the year. I think you've already committed to that, haven't you?
I've put some money down on it. Yeah.
So when we do stuff like that, it gives us an idea of who's in the area, and we can extend an invite to maybe have dinner or hang out or whatever the case may be. So it's a really cool map. I like it, and we've gotten all 50 states filled in now, and a lot of other places that I had no idea people watched us there. So it's pretty cool. The links, Patty, are in the description on my Facebook and my YouTube channel, and I'm assuming probably in Steve's as well. There's a link down there that says put yourself on the map, and then there's another one that says view the map. So you're going to want to click the one that says put yourself on the map, and I believe that's exactly what it says. We've used the same thing for so many lives that I forgot what it says. But yeah, down at the bottom it says add yourself to the community map. You'll click that link and then just put your information in. Now Steve will have to update it. It's manually updated, so if you do it before the live's over with, usually he'll go in there at the end of the live and update everything. So it may be shortly after the live is over with before your little pin pops up. So
As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do it right now.
Jeff said we're just trying to figure out where we can go to avoid them. Not true, Jeff. Not true. No, I do have a trip to Minnesota planned shortly after retirement. I got to figure out the logistics, but that's going to probably be one of my first long trips. Probably going to do a couple little short ones first, just to troubleshoot everything. But I'm gonna go crash Steve's place, and
Coincidentally,
I'm gonna take a
I'm
whole
looking.
bunch of stickers with me.
Coincidentally, I'm looking to possibly move out of state around the time he retires. So if anyone's looking for, or has suggestions for top secret locations,
There will be Clack Shack stickers everywhere when I leave. I'm gonna return the favor.
I would expect no less.
But yeah, but it's gonna be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, hey, we picked up 5 more since I updated, so I'll drop those in. But we are just shy of 500 pins on that map, so
Wow, cool.
go ahead and
Five,
drop them in. We'll see if we can get that
five
bumped up.
double O. But yeah, it's it's a neat thing. Like I said, Steve put a lot of work into that map, guys. So go add yourself to it. so that so so that his work doesn't go be isn't in vain. We've actually got quite the little pocket in Florida and, believe it or not, Australia. Even with the time difference, we have a pretty good bit of coverage over there, which is cool.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm searching something.
Yeah, of course you are.
Hey, it's just gotta find out.
Uh, I mean that's one way, Jeff, to do it, but not sure the repercussions of that, or more so the act that would get you into said thing sound.
I could find him. That's what Steve. I find people for a living. I could
You'll be
find you.
retired.
I still got resources.
Well, yeah, but then they become a little less legal for you to use.
What's the pin link? It's in the. Hang on, you got the link handy by chance? If not, I'll grab it. We'll just put it in the.
uh,
We'll just put it
oh
in
yeah,
the chat. I got it. I'm
you
drilling
got
down
it.
to it now. Yup.
Well, Samuel, as I tell people, I only pick on those who I really care about. It's when I'm being too nice to you that you got to worry about. You got to worry about it.
Oh yeah.
We we give it back and forth quite well.
Well, yeah, and I tell you, it's you hear a lot about people. Like I said, matter of fact, I think Cody posted something today about folks cooperating and not being a competition and that kind of thing. And we just have fun, guys. And like, if I can't figure something out on a laser, which I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it happens often, but it does happen on occasion. I'll message
Like every
Steve
other day.
and yeah, I'll message Steve and Steve will be like, "Oh, well, that's easy. I've done figured that out. Here's the answer." And same thing with Steve, because you guys know a lot of times we get the same machines, but I may get it before Steve does, or Steve may get it before me. And it hasn't been too long ago that we both got a machine that was early in development. So there were some glitches with it, and some of the Lightburn config files and stuff that shipped with it were not entirely correct. And Steve got his out and started having some issues, and he's like, "Hey, I know you've had that machine for over a week. What's wrong with it?" And send me the file. So it's really convenient for us because it's a time saver. You know, if Steve has figured out, hey, this setting's wrong on this thing, instead of me taking 3 days to try to figure out what's wrong with it, he'll just drop me a little tip there and help me out with it. So it's collaboration on this stuff makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot more enjoyable, and it's just fun. So we're all times back and forth, and we make fun of each other. A matter of fact, my Steve on a stick got damaged, so I had to throw it away, or I would have it out tonight.
You, you threw them away?
Yeah, he got stepped on. The sticky fell off. The sticky. the,
How rude.
the stickiness came off of him, and he was on he's on my rotor, and he fell, and I didn't realize it. And he got stepped on, and like your face looked really bad because it
Well,
had
I
like
just
shoe
made
print.
you shorter.
Hey, don't worry, I'm working on something. You forget I got a buddy that runs a print shop.
Okay.
You remember those? You remember the Fathead Rage?
Yeah, I have some of those.
Mm-hmm.
I have some of those blanks that aren't printed on. As a matter of fact, I should find that. Go on. I got to do some searching.
I'm trying to get. I'm choking to death over here. I gotta get some tea or some water. But yeah, yeah. If you click that link and just add yourself to the map, like I said, once he updates it, it'll come on there. Client could
Oh,
come
hey,
out of retirement. I think somebody
we're
said I come out of retirement.
507. We're getting a bunch added
Yeah,
tonight, so
cool.
I'm gonna go ahead and refresh that while we're thinking about it.
Apparently, Greg did an event, and yeah, he found out the same thing I did. Take and order what you think you're going to sell in the little small items, and then double it and order that because I ran slap out at my last event, which was good, but I missed out on probably $200 or $300 worth of sales because I was out of the thing that they wanted. But I went with like a full box, but they just sold a lot faster than I was expecting. So, needless to say,
Needless to say, you ran away.
I ordered more. And this is on top of what. And the problem with these are the little assorted keychains that I use, but everybody was wanting the same shape, and so like I got a whole box of them out there, but it's this certain shape that I wound up getting stuck with. So I have to come up with some creative way to push those. Because the other day it was like everybody wanted this one shape, but they didn't want the Gurney shape. I've still got more coming, but I'll show you these. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm gonna do with these. This was an impulse buy. Okay, I'm guilty. This was an impulse. This is an impulse buy because I'm like I can figure out a way to market these.
What are they
Yeah,
now? Like anodized?
that's anodized aluminum.
Is it
So
like
it could
a
be a
popsicle
custom.
stick?
It could be a custom tongue depressor. It could be a reusable popsicle stick with engravings on it.
I think
It
your
could
popsicle
be.
would slide right off of it.
And you're supposed to bend these into bracelets.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but you could also, if you're a farmer and you're planting trees or shrubs, or if you have, like a lot of people have orchards of peach trees around here, I can engrave a number on these, and then you can wrap it around the limb and have the number on the tree, and it won't go anywhere. So I've thought of several different applications for these, but they were really cheap, probably because nobody bought them. And so I ordered a pack of them, and I'm going to see how they engrave and come up with a way to use them for something.
Cool.
I'm gonna find a market for these. That is my challenge. But they come in all kinds of different colors, which is kind of cool. And I may save these for when some of the other machines I've got coming. See, I got all kinds of colors. Whoa! but they really weren't that expensive, and they're kind of sturdy as well. I was expecting them to be like real flimsy, but you actually have to bear down to bend these. So I'm probably going to CNC me a little bracelet bender mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with Cody's bit when it gets here, because I got the aluminum. It'll make me a way that I can bend them. But we'll
I
see.
mean, probably do it just out of plywood too.
True. Yeah. If it'll hold up, I'm assuming it will.
Might be even better because it would be less likely to scratch.
True. And I don't know why somebody decided to make these high security. All right, well, hang on. They put a zipper bag, but then they put tape on it, so the zipper won't open. So, when in doubt, box knife. But these right here are what was selling like hotcakes the other day. Oh, and I've broken the other bag. These are the thinner ones, but these little dog tags right here, awesome. I've got the thick ones coming. These are the aluminum. I've got the stainless ones coming too. But I had to restock on both of them. But yeah, still got some more blanks coming in. But this is for the next event that I have is either going to be a Humane Society event or the event in September, the YouTube event that Cog Hill and all the farming folks around here are going to be at in Jemison, Alabama. I'll have these up there as well.
All right, so you were talking about the big foam heads.
Yeah.
So we somehow got a hold of some blank ones, and my son, who's more of the artist, decided to draw on one, and so this was the result. I'm just gonna. I'll see if we still have that. I'll just maybe that'll be my instead of the the TikTok filters that people use. I'll just wear that next week.
Yeah. Paul, I will say this. The downside to diode lasers at times, and people's like, oh, you can't really do a business with a diode laser. But you get an army of those things, you can actually get some stuff done, and you not have the overhead that you would have with a bunch of CO2 machines. The key is to pick things to sell that are reasonably creatable with the machines that you have. And once you do that, then you just, later on you can upgrade, go something bigger. But multiple machines is the way I make things work. Today, for example, I had 3 machines running pretty much most of the day, occasionally 4. So but that's how I managed to get all of that stuff that's piled up over there, that's boxed up and packaged and everything. That's how I got all that made, was running multiple machines. I will show you my top secret box. Y'all can't see what's in it, but I'll show you the box. This is for my friend May, and I'm under orders not to reveal its contents. It's top secret. Y'all can't know what's in there. But this box, hang on now, I'll show you. This box contains 3 smaller boxes, and these smaller boxes are like this, and there's things in there that I can't show you. But there's 3 of these little boxes that fit down in this guy. And I built all this, designed all this, and built it. And these boxes are slap full of things. But this is what I've been working on for about the past 2 days. This and that pile of other things that's right there that I also can't show you what are. But yeah, this is about a good 5 pounds of Luan, everything put together. So it's really, really solid. But it's pretty neat. I wish I'd have went a little bit higher with this, but I think it all wound up looking pretty neat. So yeah, that's top secret. I can't tell you.
Boxes upon boxes. Now, did you use one of the online sites to create the
The initial box, yes.
The initial one, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good,
it's the easiest way. I go in
yeah.
boxes.py, figure out my basic frame, generate it, bring it into Lightburn, make my modifications, put what I need to be put on it, and cut it. So, yeah, it's definitely a big time saver than trying to build the whole box
Hmm.
automatic, by hand.
Yeah, well, and that's it's kind of the same thing with any files that it's great to be able to do it yourself, and you should always learn how to do it yourself whenever possible. But if someone has a design out there and it's a few bucks, I mean, I've done that where, hey, I like this. Especially when it comes to some of like the 3D artwork and other things, like I don't want to have
Hmm.
to try to create that myself. Here's an artist that's got it. I'm going to give them their $5 and move on with the rest of the project. Same thing with boxes PY and some of the other generators. They're good tools to get to use and then modify them. Might as well save yourself some of the headache on that the root designing. I mean, I've made my share of boxes going in and cutting in the individual box joints and
Yeah,
sizes in CAD and such. And yeah, it's good to know how to do it, but it's nice to see additional tools out there to make
yeah.
it easier.
Well, even when I decide that yes, I want to build my own, if I can get Lightburn to launch, oh, I still cheat, and I was going to show you. I was going to show you right quick. So here we go. So I still cheat even when doing it, the hard way. If you go over here, I've got this little place called File Design, and in here, I have this. So I can just like drop that in there between two pieces and cut them out. But yeah, I cheat and create joints and stuff like that and save them over here so I can just drag and drop them and attach them where I want to. But yeah, it's easier to me, especially with it's a simple little box. I'll go get the box made by boxes.py, and then I'll rip it to shreds and make whatever I want to make out of it. But I did finish this too. This is a piece that Steve,
Oh, is that your
you recognize this piece of wood, Steve? You should. You
uh
helped mill it and you
yeah,
helped put it in the kiln.
I was gonna say that was the that the giveaway you had at the thing.
Yes. Yeah, I gave this. I put this with the board by itself was entry. And guys, we talk about marketing and getting your name out there. Our local merchants association basically was collecting items from all the area businesses that are members, and I literally took a piece of wood that me and Steve milled, put it on the CNC, made this out of it, and of course, it has some pretty cool stuff. I've actually got the GPS coordinates to the stump where
Cool.
the log came from. But I made this and I put it in the gift basket that they were giving away, and I put this on there, of course. That basically, I'll read it to you because it's kind of hard to read by the camera. It says, "Donated by the Clack Shack, engraving optional upon receipt of this item. Contact us at www.clackshack.com." And when I was at Peach Jam, right after the giveaway for this, the lady that won it came by my booth and was like, "Hey, we won this plaque, and it said that I could get something engraved on it if I wanted to. So here's what I want. And here's my phone number." So I've been waiting to get it done, and I did it today. Did this on the A70 because this is oak, and I wanted it to be deep. And as you can see, it is deep. Even at
Hmm.
200 millimeters a second, it's deep. So yeah, so I got that done, and I'll be taking this back to them. Thought that was kind of neat. I worked on that this weekend as well.
Yeah, Sharon, I've started looking at Cruvini as another box generator, and it has some nice options, a little bit better interface, I think, than boxes.py. So definitely some cool tools to look at, and so I might play around with that and get a video out there just so more people know about that one as well.
Yeah. Gerard, yes. If you go to my website and go to Shop with Clack and go to my Amazon page, there is a laser blank shopping list in there, and all that stuff. As I burn it and I find out that it works with my machines, I add it to that laser blank playlist. The little tongue depressor things might not be on there yet, but that's because I haven't tested them to see how well they work. I don't like putting, if it doesn't work real well, I don't really want to stick it on there. But another job I did today was I had somebody send me a rendering and wanted a logo made. So I made a logo and exported it in SVG, PNG, JPEG, and all those good things. Did that while the robots were doing their thing. So, yeah, been a busy day here, Steve. I don't know if you've done anything over at your place or not, but it's been busy here.
Told you, my day was on education, in day education.
But at least you got your 0 bits. I didn't get mine yet.
Yeah, well, I also, in anticipation of this hot, humid week, I moved the Lasermatic MK2 down to the basement shop, got it hooked up down there. So, going to be doing a little work with that on a couple of projects as well. I figured might as well have some of my time being in air conditioning. So,
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody's asking about the engrave. As far as the settings, did I do a 45 or anything extra? Well, here you go. Let's look at what I did. All right. So one other nasty habit I have is if I create a design, I like to save them. And so this is that actual engrave that I did today. 200 millimeters a second, 100% output, 127 on the lines per inch. I am running 5% overscan with this bigger module because it's a bigger module, uh, and it fills all shapes at once. That's the settings that I ran on that. So nothing special, nothing extraordinary. I run air assist, of course, as you can see by the air assist being indicated there. But that is the actual burn that I used on that one. And I've got to where I keep like this one's another one that I have on order. I prototyped this out the other day. This is going to be a design that a lady wants for a wedding, and I've prototyped it out and got all the cut lines in here. Of course, she's wanting this. The D is going to actually be 20 inches tall, so it's going to be done on enclosure Zilla oriented this way. But yeah, I try to save, like, I hoard designs so that if nothing else, I can go back and later on kind of use them as inspiration when it comes to doing stuff. Where'd you go, Steve? You disappeared, Steve.
I'm here.
you're you're hiding. But that little file there too. When people ask me, like, they're like, "Hey, could you make this?" Now, keep in mind, this was kind of, I just kind of set this up. I didn't glue it. But she asked me, she said, "Hey, could you make this?" And literally, like 10 minutes later, I sent her a picture of this with nothing in the background for a reference. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's awesome. I love it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a miniature. I just cut that out of some scrap just to show you what I could do." But I didn't even take the time to glue it. I literally just laid the parts where they go and took a picture of it like that and sent it to them. So that's why a lot of times, uh, prototyping these things out, and keeping the designs. And this is my go-to cheat for that is I mark where this goes
Mm-hmm.
with text, because if not, I get all bendy with it and it doesn't look right. But if you line this stuff up and using CA glue, which I didn't glue this one, I didn't want to waste any glue, you get it right.
Yeah,
So, but yeah,
you gotta be careful that you get it lined up that way. Otherwise, they'll see the lines. Sometimes I'll shrink it down just 1% so that
yeah.
the edge is covered up. But yeah, that's a good way to do it. Or
If you get
creating some sort of. I've done it on. I've made some special signs where I'll go ahead and make the template out of scrap plywood or cardboard to get it aligned as well too.
Well, a lot of times what I'll end up doing is this on my actual design is going to be a deep engrave. So technically it's going to be like an inlay. Part of the top piece is actually going to sit down in there so that when I do glue it and just press it down, it's not coming out of there. But
Sure.
for my demonstration, because I was literally trying to burn this out and do it in like 5 minutes to show her, I just cut them and stuck them. But the final product that will be, maybe like a half a millimeter inlay, so that it'll actually sit down in there. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, miniatures. I can throw that away now. I don't need it no more because she's already
Uh,
approved it. She's approved the design, and all I'm waiting on is to get caught up because the wedding's not until like September or so.
I I'm assuming that Victor is saying that they had him engrave a copy of their marriage certificate and didn't actually burn the real one. But um, yeah, this I've seen that before where people want whether it's marriage certificates, birth certificates, or some any sort of type of document on that. Obviously, you want to be careful if there's like certain information or signatures and such that maybe they do or don't want on them there. But that's actually a case where sometimes having a good scanner can do you a favor over just trying to do a regular phone or camera photo. Just being able to get it nice and crisp and flat. But I've seen that a lot of times where people have a piece of paper that signifies something important. They want it burned. So it's definitely something to play around with. Maybe have a couple examples of show at your displays if you're at a craft fair or something to spark interest and questions and possible business.
What's up, Eric? Valley Forged. How are you, sir? Guys, if y'all don't know, that is Eric at Valley Forged, and he does lasers. But Eric, I will tell you this: with the A70, I think I'd have to go back and watch my video. I'm pretty sure instead of doing the 45 cant, I think I wound up getting it to where it would slide before it got to 45. I think it was too tight. I'd have to go back and look to be sure. But yes, it's not it you don't want them overly tight. I'm sitting here feeling them mine now, and you don't want them overly tight. You want them snug. Let me before I tell you that, let me test make sure mine's still good. But I haven't. I've been running a bunch of stuff today and can't see any issues. But you want them tight, but not too tight. I mean, this one actually that wider belt. I'm assuming it doesn't have to be tensioned as well as the others. So let me go on and get over here to my A7D. Should be COM 19 unless it's changed. Go to console, verified, home, testing. Steve's going to get something.
Well, I was just checking mine. I have it where if you have the gantry at one end or the other, I can pinch them together and still make the belts touch, but there's definitely some resistance. Um, and yeah, I would say definitely this one. I had to. I made mine a little tight at first as well, so I backed it off. But you I think trying to remember with the 45-degree angle thing. I think wasn't it also testing it with the head off versus on?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look
There
at the
was one
video.
laser that I had to do that as well, but
Yeah, because I think you had the same issue I had as far as now that's 400 millimeters a second. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I got it home. So or 200 millimeters a second. So this is kind of fast for this big machine. But we'll make sure she frames up right, which I know she will. My camera is usually just right. But I'll also have to frame so that I can go over here to my console and autofocus, which is cool as grits. All right. Now we're focused and let's run this test. I tried not to run the power real high. It may get a little smoky in there, but my exhaust system on this enclosure's kind of loud, so you guys may not want to hear it. And don't look at the dust all over the back of that machine. I've been running them hard for 2 days.
I was just gonna say that your top of your module needs a little bit of a wipe down.
They all got to be clean before I run any more jobs because I literally have got probably 12 hours on both machines, if not more. And the
Yeah,
majority of that was continual running.
yeah.
So they definitely need a cleaning. And notice the Ventari's Workshop sticker that is stuck inside my enclosure as if with any
Oh,
other
that's
enclosure I have.
strange how those just grew.
Yeah, they just appear. Oh, I have tweaked the settings on my controller too. So if yours doesn't act exactly like that, don't freak out. All right. So let's see. Other than I went way too fast for that speed setting, and wound up losing a little momentum in the corners. Uh, yeah, you can look at it. Like I said, my speed was way too fast for the power setting, but yeah, there we go. So
Mm-hmm.
plenty snug for such a heavy module. This consistency that I'm getting out of it is just insane. I really wish I'd have ran the right power settings. I should throw that back in there. Ooh, dust, smoky. Oh, gotta vacate some smoke. Give me a second. All right. Update, overlay. Let's crank the power up, guys. Let's just hope it don't cut it into little onion pieces. Yeah, Steve came over here while he was in the shop. I had to go to town because I had something with work come up, and so I left Steve in charge of the shack. I did not know that he was going to allocate all the space he did for stickers, but he did. Is my audio working?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just make sure. I didn't see you like go. Oh,
I
disco
I
lights,
I don't know what you're talking about.
disco lights. Yeah, and I need to clean that honeycomb again. I got a new honeycomb in my other enclosure, and it looks just like that one now. After 2 days of running it. So, with the appropriate amount of power, that's what I'm getting.
I think you're just trying to hypnotize us.
Woo! Does it look like it's rotating?
No.
Uh, but yeah, but no, that's going to be it, Eric. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves me right, don't make me lie. I'm thinking it's going to be looser than what you're accustomed to because the belts are twice as wide, and so it doesn't require as much tension to be effective. So I'm wanting to say that I backed the pressure down. That when I first put it together, I had them too tight. Uh, this one, yeah, this one has the steel rollers. I was supposed to say that was this guy that I actually had to adjust the nuts from the factory because they had flat spots on them. But yeah, no, that's the kind of results I'm getting at 200 millimeters a second with this big heavy behemoth of a module. So back the pressures down to where, let me see if I can get a gauge. Like mine, you can pull them to squeeze them together for almost a foot down through there. You can take your fingers and squeeze them together for almost a foot. So they're not very tight at all. So I would say try to loosen them first, see if that helps. But anyway, and I told Eric the other day, Steve, he needs to come in here and hang out with us one night. I'd love to
Yeah.
share his story of how I want to know how he makes as much money as he does at these events. Either he's got some really big events over there, he's a lot better at it than I am. So I need to get him to teach me how to do that.
Yeah.
So
It's been a few weeks since we've had a guest on there, so we definitely need to make that happen.
all right, who wants to? Anybody want to vote? Y'all think we should have Eric on? Should we hold it? Should we hold a vote? A vote? I gotta get a bottle of water. Dusty in here.
Yeah. Well,
The bottle.
Burn carve print. Yeah, there are some 3D printer belt tensions that can help. But these on the X70, they're a little bit wider, and so the tension is going to be slightly different. Than I think those typical ones are like 6 millimeter, and these are 9, so it could be a little bit different. And some like any of these, usually there's just a little bit of tweaking and adjusting to them to really dial it in. So sometimes sometimes the adjustments too a little bit goes a long way, especially like when you're doing mirrors and on a CO2. You don't want to crank on those. Sometimes just a half turn on those belts can take it from being a little janky to just right versus getting a full full cranking down on it. So
I wish I could see if I could measure the gap between the tensioners and the back frame. That might be helpful, but I can't hardly get to it without taking out the enclosure. I can send you a picture of it, Eric, but I seriously think you're probably over tensioning them. I will tell you this, and this was the only flaw, and I thought it was a flaw until I realized it wasn't a flaw. It was just I was being too aggressive with the with the tension. Is if you tighten them too tight, you'll start to notice that tensioning rod will start to actually you'll start seeing it torque around. If you're seeing that, and hang on, if you're seeing this little tension rod right here, if you start over tightening them, it will literally bow, like it'll pull this a little bit. Because in the
yeah,
beginning, I thought they needed to have added another bearing support right here, but then when I realized no, it's not. It's because you're over tensioning it, and I backed off the pressure. It fixed it. So pay attention to this. If you start seeing that this is kind of torquing, then you don't want any pressure on things. You want this shaft to be kind of neutrally situated to where it's not trying to bend it or bow it or anything. So that was something that I did notice when I was playing around with the tension. I think did I get mine a few days before you did, and you called me and was like, "Hey, does yours have some weird belt tension thing?"
yeah. You got yours a couple days there. I think mine showed up on Wednesday. Yours was like on a Monday or something like that. So
Yeah, because guys, I believe it or not, when that happens, kind of make a big deal out of it with Steve, give him a hard time, especially if he's got to work and I'm off. But usually
uh,
it's the other way around. Usually he's off and I got to work because he gets like every holiday under the sun. So, well, the ones that did want to voice their opinions said yes to Eric. So, and
like
he has an invitation. He said he had an event going on this weekend that he couldn't make it today.
wow.
But we'll try to work something out in the next few weeks and see if we can't get him
I
on here.
I guess he's committed to it now. He can't back out.
Well, unless he's not here, he may have left. He may have came in, got the information he needed, and been like deuces, gone.
Nope,
Okay, so
still there.
yeah. If you're seeing torsion showing up in that bar, Eric, you definitely need to back her down. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. If you're seeing that bar kind of wobbling a little bit. All right, let me grab another bottle of water. That was Brandy's partially drank bottle.
Uh well, we are running up about 10 minutes before we normally hop off. So if you guys have additional questions or comments, now's the time to get them in there.
What am I doing, Steve?
More? I mean, you already said you destroyed the Steve on a stick and burned me in effigy. How more?
It,
How much more?
it was an accidental injury, and after I killed him, I figured cremation was the best way to go.
Well, it better have been a Viking funeral on a boat.
Well, I mean, it was my burn pile. It was a bunch of other scraps. It was like
All right.
a bunch of this random stuff.
Oh, so
So,
you just tossed me out with the trash. I see. Okay,
well,
but
you had like a really big shoe print on your face, and I didn't want people to say I was abusing you.
okay. Now, between Fluffy and I think HR is going to have a little bit of a conversation
Woo!
with you.
Oh man, she was so mad. What's up, Rich? How are you, fella? I just saw you pop in there. Well, we can't always all be as punctual as Steve. He's very punctual. But yeah, I was sitting here earlier putting those, and I got to show in case somebody didn't see the picture. I was sitting here.
Perimeter alert, driveway.
Hmm. But I was sitting here
It's not me.
putting stuff. I think it's my daughter. She uh she had to go back to work for a little while earlier, so. Just gotta check. You never know. It could be a friend, it could be a foe. No, we're
This is
safe.
that. This is that
We're good.
ignorance is bliss part.
What's that? Oh no, no. You got speed, shock, and surprise. Those are the three S's. You
See,
give
the
up any
problem
one
is
of you give up any one of those three, and you have the disadvantage.
I can't find the balance with my cameras between detecting every little insect and speck of dust that flies across it as motion and something to alert me about, and not telling me there's a flock of deer in the backyard, like happened one time
Mm.
too. So
Well, no, I do get. I had a
I guess it wasn't
groundhog the
really a
other day,
flock. I
but then
heard.
he had a slight vehicle accident. Well, so I don't have a groundhog anymore. But
Mm.
yeah,
I did. I did get an offer from a random place wanting me to review their door lock.
oh my gosh, man! I got a thing the other day wanting me to try out a pool vacuum. Well, what do you want me to do with it? My
Nice.
dog water trough? I got a cow trough that my dogs drink out of, but I don't have
Yeah.
a pool.
Yeah. Jeffrey, I'd have to outbid him. He was already telling me how he wanted to buy his neighbor's place and move the shack there. So I think he'd get kind of upset if I snagged it from him.
Yeah. Uh, Jordan wants to know if do you have the X Tool One or Ultra for trade shows? Or Jordana. Jordana, actually, yeah. If you'll go back on my videos, like the past week or two, my last event was actually the first. Well, it was the second event we used the F1 at because me and Steve used it at May May's open house while he was down. We used it. That was the very first time we ever took it to an event, and it was pretty much exclusive at this last craft event I did. I used the the gantry machine, I think, to cut two things, and one of those was a jig that I needed for one of my blanks that I had forgot about, which was a whiskey flask. Somebody bought one of my whiskey flasks, and I was going to engrave another one and put it out while I was sitting there, and I didn't have a jig for it, so I had to go back and make a jig for a whiskey flask. Other than that, and then I had a lady come by and loved my Chihuahua display that I use for events. She loved my Chihuahua display so much that it reminded her of her dog that she used to have, and she wanted to buy it from me. So I basically sold it to her and made another one. Or well, I made another one and sold it to her because she didn't want it to say pet tags $10 on it. But yeah. So let me get some of my pictures pulled up and I'll show you. You can go to my Facebook page, Clack Shack, on Facebook, and you can see all the stuff that I did at the events with the F1. I use an assortment of machines. Here we go. Here we go. All right, top screen. So that's my little setup. But yeah, I actually sold one of these little dogs right here. It's my display, and made that. There, Brian. There's your hero right there, Brian. Decline. This is after we got hit with a pretty good rush. As you can see, my inventory is a little slack. I run out of blanks because I kept refilling my displays and doing customs, and so I started running out of blanks. And that this is when it was spiraling downward. There's the Clack Shack buggy. Several of my fellow vendors were thankful that we brought the buggy with us. They got to use it. There's Brian's hero again. And this is my buddy Tim at the trophy shop. This is actually a screen image of the shack that he made for me. That's Decline, and it's pretty much all he ever does. So, but there it is right there, guys. That was my setup for the day, and I sold a bunch of stuff off of that guy. It was a lot of these things right here, and a few other little things that I was making. But you can see several of them were they were going like wildfire. So, oh, and those things, believe it or not, ink pens. My ink pens got a big hit. This is before I actually did have enough blanks to refill this display, but I got hit by like two or three couples back to back, and they started grabbing ink pens. So, but yeah, but that's the setup, guys. That's what I bet. That's what I ran at the last event that I did. So, but you can go check
Yeah.
out. I keep put a lot of pictures and stuff on my Facebook page. So just go check it out on Facebook.
I know someone earlier had asked if the dog tags were popular there and up here, and the dog tags are kind of one of those universal things that can be so many different things. They can be just the normal, hang on the ball chain kind of thing. They can be an actual pet tag. I've had people ask me to make them into luggage tags or medical alert type things. I mean, in the hobby, people want them as like wing bag tags and other stuff. And so, yeah, it's something that's inexpensive and quick to make. And, you're definitely getting your money on the quick customization of it. So if you're not doing them, I would definitely grab a bundle, grab a multicolor kit off of Amazon or such. Just, you don't have to overinvest them. Bring a few and into your next show and or hand a few out, show a few pictures on your social media pages and such. I guarantee you're going to get a few people asking about, hey, could you do X, Y, or Z for this? So many people use them for so many different things that it's almost universal. So,
Oh, yeah, and I did this the other day with the F1 as well. And it is black and it doesn't come off. My wife says she's washed it probably 30 times since I made it, and it's the metals actually change color.
yeah, but that used to be a 30 ounce. Now it's a 20 ounce. You've been washing it too much.
Yeah, I heard you say it's going to shrink it. Mm. But no, the small stuff, like you said, the medical alerts and like this, the thing that I had the most orders for, because anytime you have an outdoor show in our area, people bring their pets. If I saw somebody walking by with a dog, I was like, "Oh, hey, puppy need a new name tag." They're like, "Oh, you make those?" Yeah. How many lines of text can I have? I was like, "Well, I can put the Gettysburg Address on it, but you're going to need a microscope to read it." And they're like, "Seriously?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I just want to see this done." I had people literally buying them just to be able to watch me do them. But I was, with that anodized, you seriously could put the Gettysburg Address on it just about with that little
Mhm.
IR module. But name of the dog on the front and one or two phone numbers on the back, $10 a pop all day long. And it literally with the F1, I had it to where I had my phone number formatted, and then I had the name formatted, and I was just dragging and dropping them in XCS using the little brackets. And man, I was cranking those things out quick. And I give Klein a hard time, but I will say that I think Klein actually collected the money and took the orders on like 60% of what we sold that day, because I was so busy with fingers on the computer that most of the customers he actually talked to them. So I wound up actually paying him. He
Nice.
voluntarily came, but I wound up paying him because I kind of felt bad. He worked his butt off that day.
Yeah, the deer up here can fly. I mean, between just how much they can jump and also just they are so numerous that you're lucky to not hit them. And I mean, when I drive down to Clack's place, it's funny. I get south of St. Louis, and all of a sudden the roadkill turns into just armadillo everywhere. Up here, it is just deer after deer after deer. They're like rodents up here. So,
Well, that's
but
because
no,
y'all don't got but like 2 weeks of hunting season.
we've got good. You've got a lot more hunting season than that. I mean,
Really?
it goes.
I
It
know a
goes.
lot of those places up that way. They won't let you hunt, but with a rifle,
Well,
but for
it's
like 2 weeks.
well. There's yeah. I mean, that's the thing is there's bow season. There's rifle season. There's slug shotgun season. Then there's black powder season. There's multiple turkey spring and fall. It's yeah. No,
Yeah.
they're but they're plentiful and yeah. I've seen a few that I swear they were flying on their own, high and how fast they can go. But and yes, Samuel, I would not that. I mean, Minnesota, it gets hot and it gets cold, and yes, I don't do well in heat. I
He,
am I am a
that's
northern
why he
boy.
comes in. That's why he comes in the spring when he comes down here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we get enough heat and humidity up here, and on those days I suffer bad because I just do not. There are I'm pretty sure I had heat stroke and should have gone to the hospital. I was a friend of mine's a paramedic and was kind of keeping an eye on me and such. But yeah, especially ever since that, they say once you get heat stroke, your tolerance for heat goes down. Yeah, no, I'm not a tropics person at all.
Yeah. Well, now when you came down here, though, you brought some of that Minnesota weather with you. If you remember, it dropped down to like 41 degrees. It was 80 the week before you came, and it dropped down to like 40. But
Yeah,
yeah, like right here, I mean, you can see no shortage of warm weather, even with this little cold front we got coming through. It was 95 is what the real temperature was today. Now it felt way hotter than 95. But yeah, the air conditioner in the shack has been struggling. It's just now down below 80 in here at 78.8. So feels pretty good. But that's 2 hours. So unless anybody's got any like last minute questions, I have to report back to work tomorrow. So can't stay up too late. Luckily, I've already had supper, so that's good. Because
got
most of
that
the
out of
time
the
I
way,
don't eat
did you?
after. Yeah, I don't ever eat after the live. So I always go to work Monday morning starving to death. So, but
Uh,
yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have some more content coming out in the next week or two. I've been, like I said, all this stuff over here has kept me busy this weekend. I haven't even thought about doing anything but a couple of shorts, just to let y'all know that I hadn't quit. But and if Steve wants me to, I guess I could get his log in and post a short for him every now and then, so that y'all know he hadn't quit. But yeah, it's because my situation is unique, and I hear a lot of people talking about you know content creation and laser businesses, and I know there's some guys out there that review lasers and do lasers and stuff like that they use them, but you know, like a lot of people, it's just more or less a hobby, which is kind of the way mine started out. But mine has grown to be much more than a hobby now. And so there's some weekends to where my customers come first before content creation. And so this has been one of those weekends to where, I try to throw you guys a few shorts and stuff to stay interactive, but I've been cranking out projects. I got 10 sheets of plywood in 2 weeks ago, and I am out of every piece of plywood I've got except for the big sheets that I use for this machine over here. And I'm running through them quick. So I will have used up close to 10 sheets of plywood before the week's over with. Cutting.
it's a lot of burning.
That's a lot of cutting. So yeah, that's what
Yeah,
Rich said. He went from business to hobby.
that's
Rich, you're going the wrong way, but Rich, if you're going from business to hobby, I went from hobby to business, and then I guess maybe one day I'll go back to hobby. But right now, I'm trying to ensure my ability to retire. Once I get that
well,
retirement, then we'll go from there.
yeah. I mean, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, uh, I was running a more of a for my model aviation hobby. I was running a business for that, and using my lasers, using my CNC machines for a lot of the work there, and decided to taper that back and get more into just traditional woodworking and doing a lot of stuff with the lasers for making making stuff and customizing stuff. And I don't include a whole lot of that into my content because I'm kind of with you is between my day job and other things. When I get an order in for someone, I tend to want to just like, okay, that's important. I got to get it out. And I don't always, everybody says, oh, everything's content, but it slows you down trying to
Yeah,
keep, video everything and make sure you got enough to make it relevant. And so usually when I have order stuff, it's get it done, get it out. And, and I tend to, a lot of times I'll work in the development stuff, like the graduation frames and other things like that. It might be because of an order and whatnot, but sometimes I'll go back and redo it for that rather than show some of that stuff. Um, so yeah, it's tough juggling, primary career, family, part-time gig, content creation, and sometimes it just has to give. And so that's kind of where I've been at the past couple months. Is things are a little bit slower on my content creation, um, but I'm still here kicking, still doing these, and still cranking things out and making my list. I do have a couple extra days off this week, so hopefully I'll get some of that stuff caught up and get some things pumped out. But who knows? I may end up with more more orders that I need to take care of as well.
Yeah. But before we leave, due to the fact that this is June, this is my month of all my anniversaries, I guess you could say. I've been, and I told you guys earlier, I've been digging up some photos of back in the day. Well, hold on to your shorts here, because you're gonna see the evolution of the shack since about 2020 or so. 20. This first picture is gonna be from around 2019. So here we go, and that's the best picture I could find, and that is the shack in 2019, guys. All right. So for those that this is how I started with doing stuff. All right. There's my buggy, my lawnmower's there, tractor's over here, got a trailer there. All right. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Hang on. That's actually chronological order's a little messed up. This was in, and if you look at the date right here on this photo, 2021, May of 2021. That's the shack. All right. That's when I finally got around to putting a slab in, and kind of making it into a workshop more so than just a shed. Uh, and here we go. Some more. Hang on. Why am I getting messages? Here's some more photos. This is some right after the slab was put in, and that is the sign that I put up during the remodel back in 2021. And this is when I first finished the very front. I just put the door in and built this wall and all that. So look how much space. That's what me and Brandy were talking about. Look how much space I got in there. There's nothing. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you, because that was that was some little nuggets that I found during my walking back through the history of the shack. I thought those were pretty cool. And
All right,
that's only been what, 5 years.
so do I have to share the origins of mine?
Oh, you can, but I was just showing you guys why it's literally the Clack Shack. Yours is like Steve's Taj Mahal.
All right, well, there, earliest shot I have of my shop.
Yeah, but see, that's like legit construction. All
Yep.
right, you saw that first. You saw the first picture of mine, didn't you? Like literally, it was a pole barn.
Yep. There's the
Hey,
pile and
hey,
the
there's
old
where I can
garage.
park my camper. I'll be able to park my camper right there. Won't
Yeah,
I? Right
no,
there.
they can't get. That's not very easy to get to anymore. So, yeah.
But anyway, but yeah. So it's been a long time, and I'm steadily evolving, and you can see it looks much different now. So just thought I'd share those. It's like I said, it's been now 4 years since I started remodeling and moving into woodworking. So cool. The inspector was checking out the cat door. Yeah, that was when the cats were first learning about the cat door. They didn't have a cat door up until, well, they didn't need one because the whole thing was open. But I had to put the cat door in when I built it, and so we like put food in the cat door and trained them to go through it. But it was kind of cool. But anyway, guys, 2 hours 9 minutes, and I guess we need to wrap it up, because I could sit here and reminisce and talk all night long.
And that's one of the biggest mistakes I made in the shop.
What's that?
That style window.
Oh, because you can't put an air conditioner in it.
Right.
Nah, just gotta get that mini split. All right, guys. Hashtag Steve needs a mini split. We're gonna have to start it again, and maybe by next summer we can talk him into getting it put in. Uh, I guess I'm gonna have to try to see how much my guy will charge me to drive all the way to Minnesota to put in a mini split. I don't know. Uh, Well, Brian, I ain't gonna say it because last time I said I would dance if we did something, y'all pulled it off. I don't want to do that. I would say if I hit 30,000 before the end of June, I'd do a dance, but I ain't gonna say it because y'all will find a way, and I will have to dance.
I bet we could
I
convince
asked my
him to do
buddy the
it.
other day if I went and bought me like a Hooters outfit and did a dance, if he thought that would help me get to my subscribers up.
Yeah.
He said it might be good for views, but probably not subscribers.
Yeah, you might see a dip then.
Yeah, but nah, we're getting there slowly but surely. The tortoise wins the race, right? But anyway, yeah, Nancy said mini splits are better. I agree, but take my advice, Steve. When you buy your mini split, figure out what size you need and add about a half a ton to it. Because if I'd have added one more half a ton to mine, I think I'd have been better off because I underestimated the the heat that comes in that 16-foot garage door.
Yeah, well,
Nancy said I'd lose some. I believe it.
yeah, well, the benefit is my garage doors are on the north side, so they don't see as much sunlight, and they're also insulated.
Yeah.
Um, and the whole shop is very well insulated. So as we've talked before,
Yeah.
it's more about dropping the humidity and then adding a little bit of cooling, but it's really getting the heating aspect right for the northern zone. So
Yeah.
and yeah,
Well,
they are far more efficient than others. So
my problem is this roll up door that I've got. It's not a garage door. It's a roll up door. It has
yeah,
no insulation, and it's 16 foot by 9 foot, and so and it faces toward the morning sun. Even though I have the porch out there, it still faces toward the morning sun. So,
hmm
but the Clack Shack version 2 will be a lot more thought out and a lot less redneck engineering. So hopefully it'll be a little bit better because I do plan to, as I retire, uh, hopefully save up some money and start me another shop that is going to be built with good insulation, you know, lots of outlets, because I have maxed out my breaker box on this thing. So, I've learned a lot of things about what I need in a shop, and I'm gonna hopefully be able to build the perfect workshop for me. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, y'all have a good one. Be careful, be safe, and if you haven't already, go check out Steve's channel if you're coming from my side, and hit that subscribe button for him because Steve and I we're in it to win it. we need more subscribers, more views, more great content. Hopefully out of Steve if we can get him off his butt. But you know how it goes.
yeah.
But anyway, well, Jason, this one's actually 24 by 20, so it's not small. It's what some people have, but I would really like my dream shop. I think is a 60 by 30. I think that's my dream shop. Everybody keeps telling me take your dream shop and add another 25% to it, but I've got to figure out a way of putting sleeping quarters in it for Steve, so he doesn't have to sleep in a camper. I'm gonna have an office / sleeping area in there somehow. It may be one of those little couches that like changes into a bed, but it'll be better than sleeping on the CNC because he actually was thinking about doing that.
I mean, it's practically big enough.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, y'all have a good one. I'm gonna let Steve talk out of here.
Yeah, no, it's great seeing everyone. I do promise I will be getting some content out shortly. Like I said, I get some days off this week. I don't have any excuse not to get some stuff out. So stay tuned. Appreciate all the support, all the comments, all the views, and being here on Sunday nights. And we'll see you again next week.